Hey, this is Adrian Granados, and you're watching True School Sports.
My flow, my show brought me the dough that bought me all my fancy things, my crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? I thought that you be happy I made it.
Brandon Taylor here, True School Sports. I'm with my main man, Adrian El Tigre Granados. What's up, champ? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you, man. It's first of all, it's been a while since we did one of these, so I'm happy to have you on my channel, man. I consider you a friend, really, because I've talked to you a lot about not just boxing but life. So it's good to have you on.
Of course, brother. You already know me.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you too before we get into it. I've been watching a lot of your interviews, bro. You don't have to be politically correct on here. Me and you are boys, so you can be as unfiltered as you want here on True School Sports.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll start with just the obvious. Obviously, you got a big fight coming up against Danny Garcia. Just tell me, man, when you got the call for this fight, what went through your mind, and just tell me what ran through your mind when you got the call for this fight before you took it.
I was excited. This is a fight that I've wanted for a long time, and you know it's a great fight. You know it's a fight that I think is going to be good for boxing. You know I think our styles mesh well. You know, we're both from big cities. You know, him from Philly, me from Chicago. You know, and he's Puerto Rican and I'm Mexican. So I mean that in itself sells itself. Yeah, man, I'm excited. You know, I like that they changed the fight from New York to Cali. I was okay with Vegas, and then when I heard Cali, I was like, oh, even better. You know, that definitely brings out the Latin spirit. You know, I know there'll be a lot of Latinos, especially a lot of Mexicans out in the fight. So I think it's going to make for fireworks. I'm excited, too, to be fighting in Carson, California at the former StubHub, now the Dignity Sports Health Center. That's definitely got it's a stomping ground for some classic wars, and I think we got another one coming up April 20th.
Absolutely, man. And, Danny Garcia is a guy who's made a lot of, big waves in boxing, been in big fights, won big fights, been a world champion for a number of years. When you see Danny Garcia as a fighter, stylistically, what do you see? Is there anything different that you see that maybe fans don't see about Danny Garcia?
No, I mean it is what it is. He's a smart fighter. He's a patient fighter. You know, he's willing to set you up for a big shot. You know, he'll be losing a fight, or he'll be looking like he's losing a fight, and he'll change it all with a knockout or a punch that just changes the whole sway of the fight. Yeah.
You feel like this is the one fight for you where, because people will say well, Granados, he's a come forward Mexican fighter. Do you feel like this is a fight where you can show the world hey, I am more than a flat-footed Mexican fighter? Because that's what a lot of boxing fans label you as.
Yeah, definitely. I think I only gave him a taste of that against the Broner, Adrian Broner. It was a fight that I decided to go that route, and there's definitely a lot more things. I probably won't shy away from walking him down though, because Sean Porter had a lot of success in it, as well as Brandon Rios. It was I feel like pressure fighters give him problems, and I am a pressure fighter, but there's definitely a lot more things I got in the tool bag than just a come forward flat-footed fighter.
Absolutely, man. I wanted to ask you this because I know you. I remember one time, I think it was after I don't remember which fight it was. I feel like there was one fight where you talked about, it was either before or after the fight, where you talked about how you saw a lot of these guys in the amateurs. Was Danny Garcia a guy you saw coming up through the amateur ranks at all, or?
I didn't really see him, but I would see the name at the tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there with him, and I know he was at 132, I believe, while I was at 141. That's when he lost to Terrence Crawford. I had lost, I forgot to who, but it was a quarterfinals, I believe I had lost to. So we were around the same era. That's that's when I got called down to Mexico, and I made it as a reserve. But he made the right business choice and the right business move that got him hooked up with Al Heyman and Golden Boy when that.
Yeah. Hello.
And yeah, hello.
Yeah, you broke up for a second. What were you saying? You said he got hooked up by Al Heyman and Golden Boy, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, the popularity there in New York. I know, they got a good buzz there, and at that time especially, I don't hold none against him. God bless him. He got hooked up with the right team right away, and they were able to make a hell of a career out of him. Good for him. I know he's made a lot of money and done a lot of good things for boxing. So I mean, I do want what he has, and I'm trying to go out there and take it.
Absolutely, man. I know recently you did your face-to-face with him. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I saw some clips. When you were sitting across that table from Danny Garcia and you looked into his eyes, what did you see?
I mean, I just seen Danny Garcia. It was the first time I really met him, and he is what he is. He's a confident fighter. A little full of himself, but I mean, that's where we all kind of are. You gotta have that confidence. I think too, though, he kind of got the gist of it that I'm not there to kiss nobody's ass, and I'm not here as just an opponent. I'm here to win. And I think that's why it kind of got to a point where I believe he kind of caught the vibe, and he's a little bit more serious about the fight, and that's why we had the second interview with PBC on boxing, and I think they were asking him if there was a beef there or something like that, because I think I'm giving him that vibe that he knows I'm not there to back down, and I'm not there to lose, so I'm gonna be coming for him.
Absolutely, yeah, I believe so, man. I mean, there's two welterweight fights going on that night. There's the Crawford-Khan fight, which I know is a big pay-per-view fight for Top Rank, and there's this fight, and I've been saying for a while, I think this fight has a chance to be better than that one on paper. To me, I think it's a better style matchup.
I agree. I think it's going to be a great night of boxing. The Bud Crawford and Amir Khan fight's going to be a great fight as well. But definitely, I feel like ours is a little bit more competitive and more of a 50-50 fight, and I think it's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, I think so. I wanted to ask you this, Adrian, because I've interviewed you quite a few times, and I never had a chance to ask you this. I want you to take me back, to your amateur days. Like, what was your amateur career like? Because you're at this point now where you're getting these big paydays and you're in these, really important, meaningful fights on TV. But just I want you to tell me and the people who are listening to this, like, about the journey from your amateur days and what your amateur days were like to the pros to now, like.
It's definitely been something different. I got into the game late at 15, and I just got into it just to get in good shape for my other sports. I played basketball, baseball, and football at St. Joseph High School, and I got into a couple of fights at school. I would get bullied, and I never backed down from nobody. So I got into a couple of fights, and I would win the fights, and somebody introduced me to Christian brother Peter. So he put me on, got me in great shape, and my amateur career was just kind of like my my pro career. I took on all fights. I was one of those fighters that I'd fight Wednesday, then Saturday, then the next week Friday. Then I'd take a week or two off, and then I'd fight again the next. I'd fight a Saturday, then that Wednesday. Like I was taking a bunch of fights. In 4 years, I accumulated 70 fights. So it was
a lot.
I was just I was nonstop. I accumulated a record of 58-12. I went open after my fifth fight. I think I fought a guy who had like 150 fights. So it was and that was my first loss, but I actually almost dropped the guy. And in that same tournament, it was Junior Olympics. I actually fought him a year later, and with 20 fights, I think only, I ended up beating him in that same tournament. And that guy, he was actually one of my biggest rivals in the amateurs because we were both from Chicago. But yeah, no, what it was is I've always been a crowd pleaser. I would always steal the show at the amateur fights, at the Golden Gloves. It was always the most talked about fight. Whenever I would go to the nationals, I'd always be the last one on the team that would hang around to semifinals, quarterfinals. So yeah, it was. I was always an exciting fighter, and I didn't get signed. I had something working out good with the Marquez camp, but then things fell apart out there, and it didn't work out. So I had to come home, and I came home to just life hit. I had to help my family out, and I had to take care of myself too. So I always had to hold down the job. I did them all. I would do Kmart, Target. I did, valet, busboy.
T-Mobile? Weren't you a T-Mobile? Didn't you work at T-Mobile? You told me one time.
No. Actually, I worked for a bank.
Okay.
Fifth Third Bank for a long time. I was back office, front office, all over the place. There was a time where I was a landscaper, I was a taxi cab driver, I was an Uber driver. So I did it all, and just before I actually, before I got signed, I fought Brad Solomon on the Mayweather Pacquiao undercard. I was the first fighter that night. But before that, I had a full-time job at AT&T. And but getting back to the boxing, yeah, same thing. Like I was doing all that, and in the ring though, I've got a lot of fights that just people don't know about that were just barn burners. I remember having just these fights that I had a bunch of fans and drunk people come up to me later like, oh my God, that was the best fight I ever seen. And it's just, I'm a crowd pleaser. If I get hit, I want to answer back. Like you said, I'm not just a come forward flat-footed fighter. I could put on a show sometimes where I could put on a boxing clinic, and it's just it's been exciting, and that's why I'm at this level now. And I don't even I've gotten to the point where I'm used to the haters talking and bad mouthing me, and it's been a drama show ever since the beginning of my career. So I'm not worried about what critics have to say. I know that I'm one of the best fighters in the world, and I know that no matter who you are or how good you are, if you fight Adrian Granados, it's gonna be one of your toughest fights.
Absolutely, man. To kind of go back to what you were saying about the fights that nobody knows about, I know the one fight when me and you were in Chicago about a year and some change ago, and me and you were eating and whatnot, you were going on about the Mark Salazar fight at the White Sox Stadium. And you always talk about that one. For people who don't know your career like that, could you just tell them about that Mark Salazar fight and what happened and everything that's about that fight?
Yeah, Mark Salazar was from Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, and I believe he had a regional belt. It was an IBO or IBF U.S. belt. He was he was the champion of that, and they actually didn't sign for that. Like we took photos with it, and we were like promoting it as for that belt. But my promoter at the time didn't end up paying the licensing for that, so I got pissed and like. I had a chip on my shoulder with that. I was pissed. I was like, I want that fight. I want my first damn belt. What the hell?
Yeah.
So anyways, we fight the fight, and I come out and I beat the guy up. I after the first round, he was bloody, swollen from the face, bleeding from the nose. And, I had a great, I believe a 10 to 12 week camp for that fight. Mm-hmm. So, I was in tip top shape. That was the best shape I was probably ever in for a fight. And, I was beating him up, and he actually baited me in the second round because he realized he couldn't do nothing with me. I was just giving him a boxing clinic, dancing circles around and beating his ass, really. So he baited me into the corner, and the Mexican and blood and guts warrior in me fell right into it. And he dropped me, and it was probably the worst I was ever hurt in a fight. I was stumbling all over. The world was all moving. The ground was moving, and I got up, and I almost fell again. I crashed into the corner, and I turned around freaking out to the referee. I'm okay. And, luckily he said he remembered he seen my eyes were okay, so he let me continue. But he was nervous. He's like, you kind of put my job on the line there, Adrian. So I had to survive the round, worst I was ever hurt. And I got back to work. He started, and this time now he dropped me, so I changed it from boxing lesson. I started banging with him, and even if you ever are able to find that fight, it's an ESPN Friday Night Fights. Teddy Atlas. This is bad mouthing me like what an idiot, because I'm eating big shots on the inside. He's like, he can easily be winning this fight from the outside, but he's going right into the fire. He is not, boxing. And so anyways, I could feel it though. I'm the one in there, so I feel the punches that I'm landing on him. And even though I'm eating big shots coming back, I knew I was breaking him down. And in the fourth round, I believe, he actually ended up, he drops me again. And he dropped me again kind of the same way he did the first one. But this time I'm kind of warmed up and I was okay. And I just touched the glove down and I kind of smile at it. But I go back into the Devil's Den and start banging with him again. And we're trading blows until the end of the round. And I actually rocked him before the round was over. And in the corner, I kind of lost it a little bit, and I'm like, wait a minute, did he drop me twice? And then George smacked me in the face. He's like, yeah, motherfucker, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, man, give me my mouthpiece, George. I'm about to knock his ass out right now.
Damn.
And sure enough, they threw in my mouthpiece. I went out there and I had a mission, and I went out and I dropped him with a body shot, perfect liver shot. And when he got up, you could just see it in his face, the defeat. So, I jumped all over him, and I was able to get a fifth-round stoppage. And I actually retired him. He was an undefeated prospect. He was 15-0, had that belt. And if you search up Mark Salser, he's 15-1, and his last fight was me.
Wow, so he fought El Tigre, and he was never quite the same after that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, too, that would have beat me down, too, because, he dropped me really bad the first time. And the second time too, so I'm pretty sure he was just waiting to have me out. But I just kept coming. I kept coming, and I kept beating him down, and I kept getting stronger, and stopped him. And I think one of my buddies even told me they seen him when they were picking him up, and he was just staring at the belt at the floor, and they just kind of told me that, like, yeah, man, he looked like he just ruined his world, And I was like, man, like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of your fights. I really gotta go watch. I don't know if this footage is on YouTube, but I like to see it at some point.
I'll have to send you that link. I got it.
Yeah, send me the link at some point because that's one of your fights that I haven't watched that I really want to watch because you talked about it a lot and it just sounds interesting from what you told me about it, and then the fact that it was at the White Sox Stadium makes it that much more interesting too. The backdrop and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this, Adrian. You've been around a lot of interesting people in boxing. What's the most or who is the most interesting person you've been around in boxing, as far as, everybody you've been around in these gyms and whatnot?
Let me see. I'd say the most interesting, it wasn't even necessarily a boxing person. You know what? Most interesting, definitely, without a doubt, Nacho Garcia.
Nacho Garcia, okay, legendary trainer. Why Nacho? Why would you say him?
Well, it's kind of crazy because I've always been a big boxing fan. And I would say Marquez is the one that really made, because Chavez is the reason why I always wanted to be a boxer. And I believe Juan Manuel Marquez was the reason why I became one. I watched that Pacquiao fight and I fell in love with his career and I followed him. I was a diehard after that. And then one time, they were training Abner Mars at that time, Nacho Garcia and his team. And I was just watching the Solo Boxeo when they would have that on the on the Spanish network. It was either Telefutura or Univision, but I was watching it and I'm watching it with my dad. I'm like, oh my God, my Nacho's here. It was right in Cicero. Abner Mars was fighting in my hometown, and I'm like, Pops, they're here. And it was a winter, and we went to go meet them, and sure enough, Nacho came out, and he felt I was an amateur at the time, and he grabbed me, held my shoulder, and started, filling me out. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, I got a camp down there. Come down there wherever you want. And we made the hookups, and my dad, I love my dad. He always did whatever he could for me, and he paid for me to go down there, and I went down there, and I was it was like going away for boxing camp, for boxing school. I was there with Nacho every day, and Marquez would come in. Both Marquezes, Rafael would come on his days and at his time, and then Juan Manuel would come in at his time. I met Humberto Gonzalez, Chiquita Gonzalez there. I met Daniel Zaragoza there. I met Abner Mars was there when he was with Golden Boy, Vicente Escobedo. Also, I met Jorge Arce.
Jorge Arce was a fantastic fighter.
Yeah, he was there. I met so many boxing greats. So that was like just the atmosphere that was great for me. I actually met Oscar De La Hoya at that gym too. It was when he fought Joel Casamayor.
Okay.
So Oscar stopped by as a promoter, and I got to meet him. And but like I said, the coolest person was Nacho. Like he was just so nonchalant. The phone, it's still the same number. Like he answers the phone like what he's the one who answered the phone. And he's talking to everybody. He's getting calls from Japan. He's getting calls from Korea. He's getting calls from Argentina. Calls from all over Mexico. And it's just like normal when you see like these guys would just come in randomly, like Daniel Zaragoza would just come in one day. Or also too, I met Finito Lopez and his son.
Okay, Ricardo Lopez,
Yeah, Ricardo Lopez. So yeah, these guys just come in like nothing, and it's a gym that it's just it's a staple there in the neighborhood. It's in the middle of like just a busy neighborhood. Like to imagine like just having like something in the middle of Chicago or in the middle of New York. In the middle of LA, it's like, or in the middle of Miami, it's just there. Like it's and people, they know, they know who's there, and it's just, it's natural. And like I said, Nacho's the funniest. He's the best. Like he's hilarious. He always cracking jokes. He's always just a lot fresher minded than you would think.
Okay. That's dope, man. So you come from a long line of just like Mexican boxers and boxing. So people, a lot of people don't know about that about you. The fact that you have such a deep pedigree within Mexican boxing and being around like fighters of that pedigree.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that was a great time for me. And now I've been living in Culiacan, Sinaloa for about a year, and now I've been taken in by the Chavez family, and I've it's been a dream come true out there as well. Training alongside Julio Senior. Giving me a bunch of advice, life advice as well. And then his brother, who was in his corner the whole time, Rodolfo Chavez. He's been training me out there, and then training alongside Omar and Julio Jr. And I mean, those guys they're actually really good dudes. They get a lot of slack and a lot of negative talk, but it's almost impossible. How are you going to follow up? Your dad, one of the biggest fighters of all time, definitely the most popular Mexican fighter of all time. So it's those aren't easy shoes to fill. And like I said, I've met them, and they're cool guys, mad cool. Omar has invited me to his house plenty of times, and Junior, he always. He wanted me to go to a bunch of camps with him. So it feels good to be accepted like that.
Absolutely, man. What would you say is the best advice that Senior gave you? Because you say he gave you advice. So what's the best advice he gave you as a man or as a fighter or whatever?
Definitely to stay disciplined and focused on what I have to do. He realized that my lifestyle in Chicago was getting a little out of hand, and being one who's lived that life, he's been kind of like just a counselor, to help like keeping me from astray, and as far as fighting, he gave me a couple of tips and a couple of drills, that I've implemented in my training, so that's been great, and just the lifestyle out there. I actually, I fell in love out there. I've been with my girl now a year, and she'll be waiting for me to go back home after the fight. So I'm actually living in Culiacan, and I'm calling that home right now. But definitely the home base is still Chicago. My family's over there. I'm excited to have them come out for the fight. I haven't seen them in a long time, so Oh, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, man, you doing big things, man. I see you over there posted up with with your girl on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's something I needed. I needed the base, the grounding to. And then she's a fighter too, She's
Yeah,
a
so
pro
she
fighter.
understands.
Yeah. She understands the lifestyle, and she helps keep me focused, and she loves seeing me train and seeing it like she's seen the way I change from just a normal guy into the El Tigre when I get into training mode, like. So she's definitely a big support system and now a part of my life. So yeah, definitely shout outs to her.
Yeah, you're a blessed individual in that manner. I wanted to ask you, man, like you in this fight with Danny Garcia, right? It changes your whole career, and I mentioned this in a recent video. Actually, I said if you beat Danny Garcia, and it may put you in line for a Manny Pacquiao fight. I don't know. I know you gotta focus on a fight-by-fight basis, but like, what would that be like if you ever got to fight like Manny Pacquiao?
That would be a dream come. I would love that fight. I seen when he put out that poll on who like what the people want to see him fight. I think I seen Garcia's name on there, and I know if I win, I mean I want that fight too. I think that's a fight that I think he would want to go out with a fight like me. Where I'm an underdog that's come up. And I think maybe he could also see it as an opportunity. I think everybody sees my record and immediately they assume, they can get a win against me. But yeah, no, definitely a win with Danny Garcia. I think it puts me in the driver's seat and it throws my name in the hat to fight anybody. So I'm definitely determined and definitely focused on getting this win because it's definitely a big win. It would be the biggest win of my career, and it's definitely something I need right now.
For sure, man. I'm hoping you get it. I wanted, I made a post on my YouTube channel, and I asked people if they wanted to ask you any questions. So I wanted to get to some of those, and just so you could, just so you can answer them, because they want me to ask you these questions. So we'll see what we got right here.
Okay.
Well, one guy asked, he wants to know what, I mean, I know the answer to this, but he wants to know what happened to your WBC mandatory title shot after the Amir Imam upset.
To answer that, I wasn't given a mandatory. It was just such an upset that there was nothing in the contract that had it as it was just the opportunity, and I knew I was gonna beat him. I just figured, I'm like, it should be common sense. He's the mandatory. He gets beat by me. I should be the mandatory. And yeah, it just didn't work out that way. And there was an offer to fight Postal, but this was at a time when I was offered to fight Ruslan Provodnikov for almost 3 times more money.
I remember that.
So I accepted the Provodnikov fight. But then, this is like another thing I'm putting out there. Don King blacklisted me. He was upset about that fight, and he wanted a rematch with Amir Imam. We didn't see that he deserved one because, it was a one-sided fight. So I moved along, and I got that fight, and he actually made a call to Al Heyman, and they took me out of that fight and put in John Molina.
Dang.
Yeah, terrible luck. I think that fight, following up the Amir Imam fight, that would have been a springboard for my career, and I think I'd be a lot wealthier man right now if that would have happened. But God works in mysterious ways, and I've got nothing to complain. I've got my health, and I live a good life, and I got my family, and now I got a girl, so I got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, and you're getting to do what you love at the highest of levels. So you're not doing too bad, champ. You're doing pretty good.
Thank you, brother.
My main man Roger Paxton, he wanted to know, did you get pressured to be in any Chicago gangs growing up?
Yeah, most definitely. I have a family that are gang affiliated. I've got a lot of close friends that are gang affiliated. But everybody who's known me has known that I'm cool with the gangbangers, but no, that's not me, and I'm not I'm not about that life, and if anything, I don't think anybody should be about that life because it's just a dangerous lifestyle, and it only accumulates to bad things.
Absolutely. I mean, I know you've been in that. I mean, you were in that Garfield Park gym for many years, and I know you've lost a lot of friends to gang violence. So I know it's something very close and personal to you.
Yeah, definitely. I lost my little brother, and he was a good dude, and it just, I mean, it was his lifestyle, and I mean, unfortunately we lost him, and but I mean, I know I got a guardian angel looking out for me now.
Yeah, and you're talking about Ed Brown. Just for people who don't know, he's talking about Ed Brown. Really good welterweight prospect.
Brown, bad boy Ed Brown, 20-0, 16 knockouts, one of the most talented fighters that never was that was, but didn't.
He didn't get a chance to be on the big stage.
Yeah, exactly. Because he would have been here as well.
He probably would be a top contender right now if he was still alive. That's the funny thing about it. Would be a world champion.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, another guy wanted me to ask you this, and now I actually want to know this for myself because it's pretty interesting. You've had a chance to work with Al Heyman a lot. So what is it like to work with Al Heyman? Like.
Yeah, no, it's an honor. I appreciate I appreciate the opportunities he's given me, and I very much appreciate this opportunity. And it's a fight that I don't want to let get by. I plan on cashing in with this fight. I believe it's third time's the charm. And it's been an honor. I see the Watsons all the time at the fights. They're definitely, they always treat me with tremendous respect and love. And it's a great organization they got going on. And he's definitely still one of the main powerhouses in boxing.
Have you ever met him?
No.
Because he's like the boxing fans like myself and people who watch my channel. He's like a mystery. He's almost like the Loch Ness monster of boxing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My man Edward Scott. He wanted to know. He said he wanted to know if a fight with Kell Brook in the UK would appeal to you, seeing as a win on either side could boost both your careers. What do you think? A fight with Kell Brook.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was saying. What I was saying is, what would you think about a fight with Kell Brook? Like, is that a fight that would appeal to you? Like, if that fight were ever offered to you?
Yeah, I'd take a fight with him. I mean, it'd be another fight where he'd probably naturally be the bigger guy. So I mean, I kind of wouldn't. I still, I can still make 140. I do feel though I'm a full fledged welterweight now. Though I think it's gonna show April 20th.
Okay, so you think you're punching out a lot harder these days? Like you really come into your body at welterweight?
Yeah, I feel it now. I think it's showing in the sparring and in my workouts and in my punching power. And I'm just ready to put it on display April 20th.
Okay, yeah, because I remember when I saw you in 2017 when you were getting ready for Sean Porter and you were hitting the bag and you were hitting it hard. But when I watch your recent workouts where you're hitting the bag, it seems like there's a little bit more pop in your punches.
Cool. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, definitely been focused on that. Focused on punching power because, I mean, I know I got the speed and I know I got all the other intangibles. It's definitely just punching power that's holding me back.
Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays into your fight with Danny Garcia on April the 20th. See what else is there? There's a lot, man. There's a lot of stuff. I want a couple more things I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you a couple of things in boxing just to get your take on them. What do you think about this whole I don't know if you heard about it, but this whole Deontay Wilder thing with DAZN? He turned down like the $100 million or whatever it was. What did you make of that? If you heard about it?
I mean, I'm not sure, to each his own. I don't really get into anybody else's business.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, I believe it. I mean, if he wasn't satisfied with what they were giving him, then that's his prerogative, and if he feels like he deserves more, then I'd hold out well.
Okay. Who do you think would win between him and Anthony Joshua?
I'm a big Anthony Joshua fan. I think the skills would be the difference. Although I wouldn't count out Deontay because he does have that power where if he would touch Joshua, you never know. It could be lights out or it just change the whole fight.
Do you think Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world?
I do.
What qualities does he have that makes you think he's like the best heavyweight in the world? I know
He's got it all. You know, he can box, he can bang, he's got the power. He's been tested, he's been dropped, he's gotten up from being dropped. You know, he's been in a war already, that Klitschko war, that was definitely a classic. So I think he's got it all. You know, he's got the star power too. So yeah, he's definitely a big force in boxing right now.
Yeah, he's a tested and seasoned heavyweight for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What about They're saying that Manny Pacquiao might be fighting Keith Thurman. If they were to fight, who do you see coming out of that one?
That's a good fight. I think I like Thurman. I like Thurman in the fight just because of size and boxing talent.
Okay. And I'll ask you this right here just to kind of wrap things up because I know I don't want to hold you up too much longer. If you could fight any fighter in the history of boxing, who would you fight and why?
I mean, just like anybody, I'd like a chance with Floyd. I think he's the great, definitely one of the best ever, but not the best ever. I know a lot of people probably bash me, say I'll get smoked or whatever, but I mean, there's definitely things I think I would bring to the fight that would disrupt him and that could beat him. But I mean, there's plenty of fights. I'm definitely just one of those throwback fighters. My favorite, my favorite thing is, I've gotten that respect when people tell me I'm a throwback fighter.
And you are. I would agree.
I'm not. I won't back down from nobody, and I want to fight the best, and that's what it is. That's what I'm in the game for, and I mean, like I said, I've always been. I've always wanted to be, at this level, and not only fighting the best, but beating the best, and that's why I got to win this fight and continue, to fight at this level.
Yeah, man, I'm looking very forward to it. All right, I'm gonna ask you this last question. I'm gonna let you go because I forgot this one I wanted to ask you. Your trainer George Hernandez, he's like a big figure in Chicago boxing. Could you just talk about your relationship with him and how you met him and just the big figure he's been in your career?
Yeah, no, I met George a long time ago. I was me and Ed Brown. We were actually sparring partners for David Diaz as he was preparing for his fight with Manny Pacquiao. We played southpaw for him, and we were both fast amateur fighters for him. So we threw a lot of punches, and we could both fight southpaw. So yeah, that's when I met George, and George took me on. The first time I actually met him, though, I actually fought one of Ed Brown's cousins. It was a bigger fighter too. I was a 141 pounder and he was a 152, and I fought him at 150. He was 154 and I was like 143, I think, because it was a show fight. And we fought, and I gave him 2 8 counts and kind of beat him up. And after the fight, I put his hand up, like, to give him love to the crowd and stuff. And then George is like, "Get your ass over here." He's like, "Don't let them motherfucker disrespect you like that." And I looked at him. I'm like, "Who the hell is this crazy ass old man?" And no, but I know George, and just he's down for whoever he's fighting with, And he's definitely a great man. He's like a second father to me. Takes care of me and looks out for me. And yeah, man, he's been a great trainer in my career.
Yeah, and he's been doing a lot for those guys in Chicago, like for that Garfield Park gym. And I try to talk about that whenever I see like one of you guys fighting on TV. Like I know Vernon Brown just fought on PBC recently, and he had a fight with Jamonte Clark, I'm gonna say it was. And that was a great fight. And like he's kind of been he's been a trainer in one of the more underrated boxing gyms in the sport, which is that gym you come from.
Okay, yeah. No, yeah. He actually was out here to finish camp. He finished camp here while I was here.
Yeah. Oh, Vernon.
Yeah, Vernon was here with me in LA.
Okay, yeah, he fought a really good fight, man. I mean, I really didn't know much about him, but I saw George in his corner. I said, okay, well, I'm sure he's gonna be a quality fighter, and that was right. So.
Yeah, no, he you know what? He's actually a welterweight too, and that's why that junior middleweight. And I actually, we actually had to speak up because immediately now they're trying to offer him another junior middleweight fight because he fought so well. And I told him, I'm like, guys, you better not. I'm like, because they're gonna try to do to him what they're doing to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we gotta protect our own. I'm going through the wolves myself, and I told him, he put on a good fight. I'm very proud of him. Shout out to Brendan Brown, aka Michi, aka Sub-Zero. That's my boy. But yeah, man, it's a dog business. If they see there's an advantage it could take, they'll do it, and that's what I see with that. They're trying to keep him as an opponent, and so yeah, me and George, right away jumped on management and told him that no, because they want to give him another junior middleweight and another southpaw, and I'm like, no, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
because he's a welterweight.
Yeah, they're trying to make him like a cannon fodder, like opposition, just recycle him whenever they got guys they want to move up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How do you avoid that as a fighter? Is there a way to avoid that as a fighter? Because I know that's what happened to you earlier in your career. How do you avoid that?
No, well, it's just, you just got to say no. Really, you got to say no. In my case, it's different. We're talking about different figures and we're talking about different names and different fights. Where at that level, yeah, you gotta turn them down. And I wish. Now that I'm older in the sport now, I wish I turned down more, but it's happened, and I'm at where I'm at.
Absolutely. Well, Adrian, as always, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. Great having you on. Any message to the boxing fans, the boxing world out there that you want to get across about your fight with Danny Garcia on the 20th?
Yeah, no, definitely just tune in, enjoy the fight. It's gonna be a great fight. I promise to bring that heat and come out with the win.
All right, Adrian Granados, one of boxing's true warriors. Thank you for talking to me, man. You're always welcome on. One of my best friends in boxing. I got nothing but love for the Tigre, so thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. Likewise, got nothing but love for my boy BT.
All right.
González, le mando un saludo a todos los fans. Bendiciones, cuídense.